So, good morning. We are about starting the program, so we would want members to put themselves in a good shape. And again, this program is being streamed live on Facebook. So I think when the camera is moving around, it can capture you, just for you to be aware or to draw your attention that we will be viewed by our partners in the other countries and other colleagues who are not here to watch the program. I would first thank everybody for spending or making room for some of your time to be with us here, to engage in this discussion. We would first commit ourselves in the hands of the Almighty to guide us through this program. So because of time and also counting on my position here, I would call on Dr. Reverend Emmanuel Vistos Inkum to lead us in a prayer. Amen. Thank you very much, Doc. I know I called you off guard, but thank you very much for honoring to pray with us. Quick house rules. For us here, and those probably this is your first time being in UCC, we have our first cohort of scholars with us who are benefiting from the Tagdev program. For you to find the washroom, if you step out from our right, the very block opposite us, you turn to your left, you walk straight. At the last room, you will find the two washrooms there for the male and female. And if there are also any issue, safeguarding issue, maybe you are not comfortable with where you are sitting, you can't see from the screen, please let us know. We have a team on ground who are facilitating for the engagement to go on well. I can see Emmanuel is here, Obeng, Madam Gina too is here, Miss Irene Natu is here, among others. So to now go straight to the program of the day, I have the greatest honor to introduce you to our chairperson for this program. And to give you a little information about our chairperson, she is an associate professor of bee-mediated pollution and ecology. She achieved a milestone in the College of Agriculture and Natural Sciences as being the first female to assume that position, and that is motivational enough for the Tagdev program, the program which focuses that majority of its participants and beneficiaries should be women. So scholars, the chairperson here with a milestone should motivate you as you carry the mantle in this program. And again, as part of the things she wants to achieve, I was able to capture these key words, which is very significant to our discussion today. She wants to advance the College of Agriculture and Natural Sciences as an educational hub of higher academic repute, globally ranked as high in quality, interdisciplinary, transformative teaching, innovative research, and strategic partnership. And these phrases bear the principles of Tagdev, transformative education. An education which will turn graduates, not just intellectuals, but job creators, development agents to change our communities. With the greatest honor again, I will call on Professor Rofela Kombe to address us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for such a gracious introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and sincerest apology for late start of the program. Deans, Director General, heads of departments and units. I've seen professors here. I've seen colleagues, administrators, our cherished students, invited guests. I've seen my cherished media personnel. Good morning to you all. It's an honor to be here and to participate in this program. This morning, as part of Tagdev's objective, we are organizing this program themed Thought Leadership and Adaptive Pedagogy. And we seek to promote reflective teaching, innovation, leadership in pedagogy that responds to dynamic needs of higher education institutions. And as one of the institutions strongly positions within the research space and teaching space of agriculture, biological, physical, and sustainable engineering, we need to refresh ourselves on the changing landscape of the education frontiers. This morning, I'm so honored to bring greetings from the Acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Dennis Wolenyo, and the Registrar, and the college management. We hope that we will attain the objective that we've set for ourselves. I want to welcome our students also back to campus, and especially those who have been selected for this particular program. I wish us all the best, and we hope that we can all jojo, not blow, to attain the collective goal. On that note, I accept to chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof, for such a warm welcome to our participants here. So we'll go straight to start the business of today for the program coordinator of Tagdev 2.0 in the name of Prof. Festus Anofrimpong. So let us appreciate what the program is about. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, MC. Madam Chair, and let me acknowledge the established protocols. I think this morning, I'm just to let you know what Tagdev is about, and then also to just share some of the reasons why we thought we need this seminar or workshop. Tagdev, as most of you are aware, is transforming Africa's agricultural universities to contribute meaningfully to growth and development. And we have a major goal of ensuring that Africa's young people and their institutions drive inclusive, equitable, and climate-resistant socioeconomic development in their societies. We are a consortium of 15 African countries with Global Confederation of Higher Education Association for Agricultural and Life Sciences as partners. We are being coordinated by Ruforum with funding from MasterCard Foundation. For Tagdev Ghana, we have partners. We have partners from University for Development Studies, University of UNEL, you're talking about Itobe Farm Institute, and then Swansea Farm Institute, and a host of research institutions and other partners. Basically, when you talk about Tagdev, you're talking about two key aspects: the scholarship and then Agri-Food Systems and Entrepreneurship Center, where we are trying to ensure that we provide skilling for work and job creation, entrepreneurship for innovation, and then expanding work opportunities and wealth creation for young people and in selected value chain. For the selected value chains, we are talking about cassava, pineapple, vegetables, and others. For the scholarship, we are talking about institutional development, where they have selected some programs in University of Cape Coast, where we want to ensure that they become experiential, entrepreneurial, and responsive as far as teaching and learning is concerned. And also, we want to ensure that there is a business support where we are facilitating development of incubation policies, entrepreneurship facilitation, and providing business services. We are also to facilitate climate and adaptive research, and also involve ourselves in community engagement. Now, when it comes to institutional development, we feel that there's the need for transformative education facilitation and skills development. And this includes experiential learning, delivery technologies, entrepreneurship, gender responsive and adaptive pedagogy, and thought leadership. So comes this morning's seminar. Our target is for lecturers in the College of Agricultural and Natural Sciences, but because of the importance of the topics, we have thought it wise to beam it worldwide through YouTube and then Facebook Live. So we have put that thing on Tvucc platform. You can forward it to colleagues who may be interested in the topics. The question is, why the topics? Thought leadership is becoming a concept which is becoming also strategic, and is supposed to position lecturers to be creative in disseminating original, innovative, and insightful content to students. And adaptive pedagogy as a concept is about teaching approaches where educators continuously assess student needs and adjust instructions and materials in real time to better support individuals' learning and approach. So we have brought ourselves together at least to share in this knowledge, to share in these experiences, and then identify a way to incorporate these concepts in teaching and learning. And this morning, we are privileged to have two resource persons from our own university, and I don't have the power to introduce them. So can I invite Ms. Akuya Denchi from the Provost Department, Provost Office, to introduce our resource persons for this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you, Professor Nonsense.
Our first resource person will be giving us a delivery on the role of adaptive pedagogy in higher education transformation. And the person to do that holds a PhD in science education from the University of Canterbury, Christchurch, New Zealand. He is currently a senior lecturer and a former head of departments at the Department of Science Education, University of Cape Coast. His research interests include science, teaching and learning, STEM education, and integration of digital tools in science education and innovation pedagogies in science. He is a facilitator for the Center for Teaching Support at the College of Education Studies, where he conducts continuous professional development workshops for faculty members of UCC and UCC-affiliated institutions on effective and innovative pedagogical strategies and assessment techniques. And he is in the person of Dr. Kofi Achiang Owusu, a senior lecturer at the Department of Science Education, College of Education Studies, University of Cape Coast. Can you please give me a round of applause? We also have the main person to give us the delivery on the role of thought leadership in higher education transformation. And the person to do that is the Director General of the Institute for Educational Planning and Administration under the auspices of UNESCO, University of Cape Coast. He has earned his PhD in higher education and student affairs leadership from Ohio University in Athens, Ohio, USA, and his Master of Educational Administration and Bachelor of Education degrees from the University of Cape Coast. In June 2022, the President of the Republic of Ghana, through the Minister for Education, appointed him as Ghana's national convener for the Transformation Education Summit, which was held at the United Nations headquarters in New York City in September 2022. He was recently elected by the UNESCO Teacher Task Force as co-chair of the editorial board of the Global Report on Teachers. The icing on the cake was 2 days after the Teacher Task Force appointment, when the College of Education at the University of Maryland, College Park, USA, appointed him as special faculty member of the Graduate School to support teaching and research. In August this year, he was appointed as chairman of the Ola College of Education Governing Council. He has played different leadership roles in many international, regional, and national research and capacity development programs and projects. His research interests include leadership development in education, educational experiences of underrepresented population in education, and educational practitioners' experiences
of the relationship between evidence generation and policy formulation and implementation. He is a former school prefect of St. Hubert's Seminary and a practicing Catholic.
And currently the vice president of the advisory board of Ola Catholic Church, Cape Coast. He is married to Dr. Mrs. Becky Bwachi Yadom, the Central Regional Quality Assurance Manager of the National Health Insurance Authority, and together they have 4 beautiful children. And he is in the person of Professor Michael Bwachi-Yadom, the Director General of IEPA. Prof, you are welcome for honoring our invitation. Thank you.
So please hold invite.
Thank you very much, Madam. Please, you can do better for us. So we'll go straight to the resource person presentation, but the structure is going to take all resource persons will do the presentation, then we can have the interactive section. So first begin with Dr. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, teachers and friends. My name is Kofi Achiang Owusu. Everybody calls me Teacher Kofi. I don't want to hear, is that you? This is me.
I'm not a fan of the one that makes you look as if you're a musician or a politician. But that's fine.
My task this morning is to lead us on a discussion on adaptive pedagogies. Why we need to use it in higher education and strategies that we can use to achieve that. In my mind's eye, it was going to be a small place where you have some kind of interaction. but I don't know how we will be interactive in this environment. But I'll try as much as possible to solicit your views and that of the students. In fact, I didn't know that students would be here, but that's fine. That's fine. So my presentation will follow this outline. I will try as much as possible to give a brief definition of what adaptive pedagogy is. Then we'll look at why we need to use it in the higher education setup. What are some of the benefits that can be accrued when we use such approach in teaching? Then, to the crust of the matter, we will look at what are the characteristics of teachers that are adaptive. In one of my courses at the postgraduate level, I teach a concept on reflective teaching. And I try as much as possible with the students to differentiate between the invariant teacher and the reflective teacher.
Most reflective teachers are adaptive. So you look at some characteristics.
Teachers that can help them to be adaptive in their teaching. Then we look at the strategies for adaptive pedagogy. Here, I've separated them into two. The foundation of adaptive pedagogy will be discussed, and then when we get to know what we need to adapt, strategies that we can use, and then finally, I'll look at the challenges. Now, in the challenges, I haven't left it like that. I have identified a challenge and some strategies that can be used to mitigate it. Other than that, people say that, oh, there are a lot of challenges, so based on the challenges, we will not do the adaptive pedagogy. All right. Now, I always want to start any kind of
facilitation with a question. And since students are here, I'll take some responses from the students and I'll take some responses from my senior colleagues.
When you do these workshops, you see lecturers that taught you that are in and they'll be watching you like they are watching. But pardon me, says. Now, I'll start with my colleagues and senior colleagues. How
do our students differ in terms of their learning? From our experiences, if I can get a microphone down there, that would be awesome.
What are some of the things we have seen in our students? What are their learning strategies? How do they interact with us in class? How do they show their understanding when we are teaching? Then I'll come to the students for them to tell me their own learning preferences, how they learn. What are some of the ways you love to learn? What are the strategies you use? And then we put them. Because, okay. One of the things I always ask students, when you ask them, can you hear me? They will say no. So how did you hear the question for you to say no? So how do our students differ in their learning approach? When we go to lectures and we ask questions, how do they differ in responding? How do they show their understanding? I want views from. Do I have a microphone down there? We have only, not yet. He's coming by, he's standing. Please, you take the mic and you tell me, from your experience, what are some of the things you've seen in the students? How do they learn? How do they show their
understanding in class? When you want them to be interactive, are they willing to open up? How do you manage to get those who don't want to talk in class? These are the things I want us to share. Now, I know if you don't talk, I will call you.
There are some students who wouldn't want to speak.
Yes.
And there are also others who will always, even when there's nothing to talk about, who always want to talk. And in between the two, there are some Yes.
Some
Some people will have to force us to
in class.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, please sit down.
I'm Evelyn. I'm administrator at Soil Science.
Okay.
Please, what I think is the one time you teach your delivery. You show how students will involve in your teaching. Yes.
Okay.
So that's
Awesome. So there is a point that we talk about psychological safety in the classroom. Some of us, when our students see us, they are scared. Yeah, so that is very, very important. Thank you very much for that point. Yes, Prof.
I also get students engaged because most of them not marks. So in most cases, 2 to 3 marks are awarded to students who are able to express themselves and also answer questions. And when I know that I see almost about 80% of the students wanting to engage.
Beautiful.
Yes, and then depending on the marks, you either get 1, 0.5, or 2. And I get students engage, and you really see that they have really understood, but just that they don't want to come out with some of the things.
Thank you, Prof. But Prof, that one is on your course line.
Yes.
Awesome. Sometimes we have rules that are hidden. So as and when we want, we bring them up. But for this class contribution, it is always appropriate to put it on your course line. That class contribution will earn you a mark. Yes, sir. Yes, Dr. Kuzi.
Right. Another way I also check these things
in the field, not always in the classroom. When we go to the field of practicals, whatever we have learned in the classroom, we realize that they show their understanding by doing things on the field. If we say transplanting in the evening is the best. You go there in the evening to check what they have done. You realize that they have all done the transplanting in the evening because they really understand what we learned in the class. So if they were to show it there by putting themselves in whatever they are doing in the field.
Cooperation in the fieldwork, is it general, unanimous, or some students do it for others? See, do the work and endpoints in a year.
So some years back, when we were doing it, that we put the students in a group to work on one particular space. But later I realized that some of them will be hiding behind others and they will not be doing it. So if a space is even small, we will still divide the space into 10. So that each student will have its own space.
Awesome.
Then that will help us to know whether they are working or not. But when you go there sometimes, you realize that some of them will not even go there to even do anything there. But if they were in a group, you see that the group is doing very well, but it is just some true students who are doing it.
What about the students? How do you learn? What are your learning preferences? Your professors are here. Tell them. This one is like, they will listen, they can't judge. So feel free and share your experiences. How do you show your understanding in class? Or what are your preferred learning approaches?
For me personally, I learn by how the teacher explains a particular subject in class. So if the explanation goes on well with me, then I go back and then compare it to the slides or the handouts we are being given. And I also regenerate my own understanding of how I get it. Yes, that is how I get this one.
Good. Any other? Well, feel free. This is your own. There's nothing right or wrong about this.
For me, after class, what I do is I make sure the slides that we taught, I put them on flashcards.
Okay.
In a simple way I could understand, not with the lecturers' letters, and I use my own words and understand it. So no, that's how I used to.
Okay. And the guys. I want the guy.
Oh, gender sensitive. One guy should speak.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. For me, I normally learn extra miles. Let's say I stay cool at one place. Normally, I do personal learning.
Okay.
During the evening time. And when I don't understand anything, I confront the teacher or the lecturer for more understanding.
Okay, that is good. So realize that there are differences among our students. So we need.
There is what we call the principle of group dynamics. We assume we are teaching 200 students, but technically we are teaching individual students. And therefore, every student ought to be taught. We don't have to give generalized information and think that, oh, they've all passed. I remember when I went to secondary school, my elective maths teacher came the first day. Sorry if you stammer. He was a stammerer, and he spoke in tree. I was like, someone says wrong. So all of you go say once. He said yes. He said you are all brilliant. But there were 9 ones, 7 ones, ones from King's, Cambridge. Ours was from Bantima Block B. So we struggled and got there. But he assumed that because we have entered that school, we should be at par. Sometimes, due to class size, we assume that students are the same. You've passed. You've passed the WASI and you are here. This is the university. We cannot spoon feed you. No, we are not saying spoon feed him. Spoon feed the students. But identify that there are individual differences. There are uniqueness among our students. And therefore, when we are teaching, we should be able to adapt our strategies to meet the needs and demands of the various students. Adaptive pedagogy is a bit different from differentiated learning. In differentiated learning, you group them. You see the top, the middle, the weak, and you prepare your instruction. But with adaptive pedagogy, it happens in class. Whilst you are teaching, you solicit views and modify your teaching strategy such that it will meet their needs. So I like this definition from the early career framework of the UK. They say that if adaptive pedagogy, you are modifying your teaching to ensure that all learners are provided with the opportunity to meet the objectives you have set. We want them to meet a certain target, and we want to structure our instruction such that whilst we are teaching, when we encounter difficulty, we can tweak our planning so that we meet the needs of the learner. And that it happens whilst the lesson is ongoing. You adjust the content and the process. It's not that after you are done, you come and do remediation. No. Whilst you are teaching and you realize that there is some difficulty, you modify your strategy in order to meet the needs of the learner. Now I'll skip. I wanted us to discuss this, but I'll go straight away. Adaptive pedagogy has become necessary because of diversity within our student populace. Now, students come from different backgrounds, all walks of life. In fact, in this era in our country, it is very, very much so. So, we have large numbers of students, and these students differ. Some went to good schools, some not so good, not in terms of performance, but facilities were not there. They struggled, and they've managed to come here. And we assume that, oh, you've come to the university. Because you've come to the university, you should be able to do A, B, C, D. No. There is vast difference among our students. Then students also come to the learning situation preferring different learning strategies. When I was a student, one of the ways I learned best by recalling the lecture. So I wasn't the type that would miss lectures. But even Professor Ison's class, when you are there, you are looking at C. So when you are not there, then you are going. So I have to be there. And I play back lectures at the exam hall. So when I miss a lecture, memorizing the content becomes very difficult. I play back what happened. Professor B.A. Mensah's lecture, he will be teaching and then he will lower his voice some way, somehow. I know that part, it will come in the exams. Professor Akotoye will be dictating the thing with that book, and I'll be enjoying the way he'll be chewing whatever was in his mouth. And those were the things. Those were the things that made me record the content. So I never missed lectures. And I had friends who would not come for lectures. They say, Kofi, did you copy all? Say yes. They'll go and make photocopy. My own handwriting that sometimes I struggle to see. They'll go and make photocopy and they'll memorize and they'll come and pass. But I was not able to do that. I need to sit in class, observe, and play back the lecture. We learn differently. There are those who want to see visuals. There are those who want to act, do an activity before they can recall. And there are those, when you are sharing jokes, they are angry. You just give them the information. So we have these varieties in our class. How do we meet all of them? If you become one way, invariant, static, dogmatic, that's how we were taught. You come and we dictate the notes. You explain. There are those that will be missed out. So different learning styles of our learners demand that we need to be able to be flexible. And becoming flexible in teaching, you need to adapt to the pedagogy as and when it suits best. Then we talk about motivation of students. Sometimes we assume that every learner here is here to learn. It's not true. It's not true. They know. Some of them, it's their parents that force them to come. Some of them, they want to get to level 300 and then they'll get visa and they will leave. Those of us in education, the person is in methods of teaching biology class. They say, you give a classroom example, they say, they say, young go school. He's eyeing some oil company. They just want their degree to go. So they come to class with different motivation. So if you think that everybody is there to learn and therefore, if they won't learn, that is their own problem. You get a lot of referrals and you will be doing reciting and be marking and have extra work. So because their motivations differ and their goals differ, we may have to tweak the strategies that we use. There are those, me and my class, there are those that when you share jokes, the boys and girls, and when issues come up, hey, the way you are seated, you will be doing save the date. That is when they'll be active in class. So if you are that type of teacher, you is just the content. There are some students who never enjoy your class. So we need to think about our learners and how they differ in their goals. Then the demands of the job market. Now, almost every profession, you need to be flexible. And therefore, our students should see this in us. That when we are teaching them, we are flexible. We can tweak and change. We can tweak and change, and then they will learn from us.
We can modify our strategies, and then they will learn from us. And then finally, our own effectiveness as a teacher. When are the days where some professors will go around and they will see the person. You answer this question. This is Cambridge.
This is Cambridge. You are answering the question. We've passed that era. In this dispensation, we have to think about our own effectiveness. How do our students see us? We will never be perfect. I don't think I'm a perfect teacher. But you need to help learners to achieve their potential. There are some of us, when we travel and our students see us, they get angry. Sometimes when they meet us at some corners, they will beat us. But others, when we are far away, they want to call you. Say. Where do I know? Oh, sir, you taught me this. Because they enjoyed your class. An effective teacher is not the one that you finish 200 class, only 2 got A. Then the next year, hey, you are not learning. You don't know. Last year, 50 people failed. No. Elsewhere, when students don't do well, you are queried. You explain why that number of students didn't pass. What were some of the interventions you put in place? What were some of the remediation you put in place? But here, the famous lecturers are those who gave us the E's and those that were scary. But it shouldn't be so. So for our own effectiveness, we need to modify our strategies. Now, there are several benefits of adaptive pedagogy. This part I want to run through quickly. We want to enhance student engagement. One of the findings, I don't know where it came from, but in the previous VC's era, there was a committee on curriculum review and innovation and all that. And it came up because employers were complaining about the demeanor of UCC products. That they come to the job market, even though they know they are not able to be, they are not able to express themselves. They were not expressive. Like our students were a bit timid, in quotes. And these things emanate from how they were taught. In our culture, naturally, the Ghanaian child is quiet because when somebody visits your mother and you want to talk, you say, go away. When a child is expressive, we say we empanyin him. We don't say that, oh, that the child is good. He's expressive. No. When our children speak back, retort, or query some of the things you do, we give them a knock. But so gradually they become somehow timid. So in the new curriculum, the one that we are enacting at the basic level, they want students to be expressive. In fact, they are removing the keep quiet, shut up from the system, such that students can be expressive. Now you come to class and you are teaching, and you don't give room to students to ask questions. You don't ask them questions, so they sit down 3 hours, they write their notes, and then they go. When they ask questions, sometimes you look at them and say, look at it said. Is that the only sensible thing that can come in your head? And we are very sarcastic, abusive. You don't give room to them to speak. If you do that, students can pass your course, but they will not be engaged in the teaching. So we want students to be engaged. Then we want to include all forms of different abilities in our classroom, such that students will feel included in our strategies. Then equitable teaching. In fact, most of us, we do equality teaching, but not equitable teaching. We give same set of instruction to everybody, and we are good to go. And if we don't pass that, there is a CTS. You have a portfolio, a workshop portfolio on engaging strategies. There I show image of equality and equity. In equality, we teach everybody the same. But in equity, we structure instruction such that the needs of individual learners will be met. And this is very, very important. So there are several things that can be done, that can be gotten from this. I think my time is almost up. I'll skip this. Now, I want us to look at the teacher characteristics. I wanted us to discuss that, but it won't be possible. For a teacher to be adaptive, these 3 things are critical. As for the first one, we have it. The content, knowledge, we have it. We have professors in that order. But the second and the third are the areas sometimes we miss. We need to have enough pedagogical strategies. So at the university, we are lecturers. Oh, I think in the UTAF platform, we had this debate some time ago, whether we are teachers or we are lecturers. So we are lecturers. So you come and you lecture. But it's not every learner that will benefit from our lecture, the expository approach or the didactic approach. Someone's hands-on, someone engaging strategies. And therefore, as a teacher, find ways that you can modify your strategies. If all that you know is to go and lecture, when the students, you know that students have difficulty, one of the things we observe is that the student will say, I don't understand. And you ask him or her where the problem is, they will tell you. Then you use the same approach that you used, that he or she didn't understand, to explain again. They will stand there. The terminology you didn't change. So what makes you think that repeating it means that they will understand? No. Sometimes you just have to vary their approach. Was it a long process Can you break it down? Can you let them do peer teaching? Can they be peer instruction? Can they do teach back? So you need to find different strategies to get the students on board. And then the third one is knowledge of your students. We tend to have large classes, so knowing individual students may not be feasible. But what we can do is to look at the facial expressions. I mean, we are human beings. When you are teaching, you know students are not understanding, you see their faces. But some of us, you don't look at them. So we maintain eye contact, you look at them, you see their expression, and you know that they are getting it or they are not getting it. And these are the ways that can help you adapt your strategies. Now, strategies for the adaptation. As I said, first, for adaptive pedagogy, the pivot is formative assessment. So in assessment, we have something we call assessment for learning. You assess with the hope and the aim to improve the learning of the students. And then we have assessment of learning, how much they have learned. So we are looking at the assessment for learning, the formative assessment. Whilst I'm teaching, how do I gauge whether my students understand what I'm teaching? Have they understood? At what point and order? When we get this, then we can adapt our strategies to mitigate any difficulty they are having. So how do we get student feedback? There are several strategies. I've just selected a few. The first one we can do is called the Madius point. So you've taught 30 minutes. Sometimes when you ask them any question, what is the response? It's like a chorus. Do you understand? Now good, then we are going. A story is told of a teacher who was bragging that as for him, whenever he teaches, the students understand everything. He bragged to the head teacher. The head teacher asked him, how did you know? So I asked them, do you understand? So okay, that's nice. Next time when you finish, translate it to Chi and find out. So okay. So he went, he asked, do you understand? They said, yes, sir. So Matthias here. I'm saying, debut. To them, do you understand goes with yes, sir? Is that not it? Yes, sir. Then when he converted, Matthias here, I'm saying, debut. Now, to solve all that, you can ask students to write down what they found difficult. So far, we've gone 30 minutes into the lesson. We've finished this step and that step and that step. What are some of the areas you find difficult? Write it down. And then they write it down. Then you call randomly. And you can group them. And you can see those that are aligning. If more students are having difficulty in certain areas, then you know that that area is problematic. Now, one of the tricks we also use is peer teaching. There are students that will say that they have understood that section. You ask them to explain. Sometimes the explanation they will give, you'll be shocked. Say, are you not the one who said you understood? So realize that they probably thought that they have understood. But when they started explaining, realize that, no. So Madius points works best. Some people go the extra mile of giving that piece of paper that how do you call them? That yellow paper that you can take leaflets off. Sticker pad. Thank you, Prof. Sticker pad. They give sticker pads. So students write and then they collate. And then they group them. But you can do orally. But first let them write. And then you call randomly. And then they bring it on board. Then we can also ask questions. Sometimes when we ask oral questions, students don't respond. What I do is that I have questions in my PowerPoint slides. Multiple choice questions, essay questions from previous exams. So when I get there, the questions come automatically. And I pause for them to respond. Then you get to know those who are getting it right, those who are not getting it right, and then they can discuss and you fine-tune the edges and all that. So consciously put questions on your slides. The slides I've given to them, you get to know the serious students, those who have read ahead of time. When it gets to the question, they already have an answer. There are those that will see the question, say, sir, the question. Then the others will say, it's in the slides. Then you get to know that the person didn't even open your slides before coming to the class. So put in questions in the slides to help the students. Then we can do those with good with technology that are digital devices that can help. So there are platforms like Kahoot. I've used So Creative. I am Professor Ibiata. We did some work on So Creative. It works good. You put a question there, students have their version. It can be anonymous. You can see the options. How many students are getting it right, how many are getting it wrong. It can give you an idea about how they are understanding the concept. There is Mentimeter. Some people even do normal Google form. So your questions are there. You let the forms go live, and then they respond. And then you see those who are getting it right, those who are not getting it correct. And then you can move on from there. Now, all these things will work best if students feel safe in our classroom. So the psychological safety of the learner is very, very important. It's not the physical safety, but the fact that they feel confident to speak in your class without any fear of retribution. Sometimes you will insult them, you won't say anything, but the way you look at them. Yes, anybody to say something sensible. Next time they won't talk. So our learners should feel safe in our classroom. Mind you, the Latin for the teacher is loco parentis. You are a substitute parent. So they should have that cordial relationship with you when they come to the classroom. That they should be at liberty to say whatever they want to say. So if they feel safe, then they are able to respond and ask questions and all that. But if this is not met, you talk and you stand and stand, they will not talk. They want me to answer so that you insult me. And these are young adults. Somebody is eyeing somebody in the class, you won't talk. So when they feel safe in the classroom, they are ever ready to respond. Now that we've gauged their responses, what are some of the strategies we can use to help them? So in adaptive teaching, there are some collaborative strategies you can do. The questions have come, or when you ask the question, the think per share, when you ask the question, multiple choice, everybody selects their answer, but they don't say it to you. Okay, choose your option. All right. Now, turn to the person next to you, either left or right, and share your option. What do you think is the correct answer with that person? Now, the two of you should come with a uniformed answer. There are instances where they will never agree. There are instances where, most often than not, okay, you chose A. Why did you choose A? I said, you didn't see the note there. Say, hey, I didn't see that note. Hey, if the note is there, then it's B. So think per share helps students to understand some of the things, and then they share with the whole class, and they are good to go. We can also do cooperative learning. People do mixed ability, but in our class settings, it's very difficult to do mixed ability. You can do random grouping. The question comes on the board, there is difficulty. Okay, form groups. How many of you understood? Okay, form groups of 4, discuss. Those who understood the concept, explain to your colleague. When they are done, those who said they didn't understand it, let them explain what their colleague said to you. And works also for the peer instruction. That one, you do teach back. Sometimes, students are able to understand the language of their colleagues better than the language of the professor. So the one who says he has understood will explain it. Oh, what he means by that is, and a prof, I can. So let the peers speak their own language to themselves, and it helps. We can also do multimodal teaching. This is where you have presented a test. They are struggling. This era, you can quickly go online. Is there a video, an image that can be presented for the learners to have a visual representation? Those of us in the sciences, you are teaching this concept. My biology teacher said the DNA is a double helical ladder-like structure. Do you know where my confusion came from? The ladder. I was coming from JSS Science. Say soft water ladders easily. So that ladder, I thought he was talking about foam. Not knowing that he was talking about a trade. There was no image. He explained the DNA. I didn't foam, double. But now I'm to third year, and I say a ladder. Actually, I was thinking foam, imperial ladder soap. An image would have corrected this misconception. So multimodal learning and teaching It's about you presenting concepts with different visual representation, text, images, simulations. Now, YouTube and other video sharing sites, you get simulations of almost every concept, and that will be very helpful. Then we can do targeted scaffolding. You break concepts, long processes into manageable tasks. You've explained the long one. They are not getting it. Why do you want to repeat the same process? So then you need to change the strategy. That is why we call it adaptive pedagogy. You are modifying it. It's not about repeating the same thing. So you modify the process, you break it down, and that can be helpful to students. And then the last one, we can do probing questions. We need to move from just allowing students to give you the answer to find out why they think that is the answer. So there are some people who have 2 layers of the question, the multiple choice, and then you explain. I remember those days, level 100, we finished, and then Professor Bwampo and the late Ajingo, they took a course. When we finished with Professor Bwampo, we were in negative. So they added to Ajingo's one and just subtract. So you have the point and you explain. These are ways to get students to think, and that can be helpful to you, the teacher, to know what they think. Sometimes they have the answer, but they have a misconception. Multiple choice, 4 options. Automatically, they have 25% chance of getting it right, even if they don't know. So they can guess and get it. So if you just leave them there, they'll have the answer, but they don't have the understanding, and that may not be helpful. So we can ask probing questions, and then we can help them. Then my last slide is the challenge. There are several challenges. In the camps, there are classes that are large. If it's such large classes, some of the approaches may be difficult, especially if you are doing the interactive like clickers. If you have 200 students and everybody is clicking, you will get all the responses, but identifying individual students may be problematic. So we can do the group learning. So those over here, okay, 5 minutes, explain the concept. So they will do it in groups and all that, and that will be very helpful. Then we also talk about limited ICT resources. And some of the tools, so whose data are we going to use? Whose Wi-Fi? Students to complain and all that. So when we do some of these strategies, our students will learn best, and we will also be effective in our teaching. Thank you very much. Any question? No question. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Doug, for that wonderful presentation. We can do one more for Doug. Okay. So we'll go straight to our next resource person, Prof. And please, those online, you can put your questions down. You can type them at the chat area. We have the media team to pick those questions for us. Thank you. Prof.
Very good morning once again. Good morning. I believe we are all doing well. Great. So I'm continuing from where Kofi ended, but I'm going to look at a different focus. And my focus is going to be about leadership, but not just leadership, thought leadership. What is it about? What are the characteristics of a thought leader? What are some of the practices? And what does it all mean for higher education especially in our 3 core areas of teaching, research, and community engagement. I will begin with this very short video.
Must be thought leaders. Engineers must be thought leaders. Africans must be thought leaders. Engineers must be thought leaders. What is a thought leader? What is thought leadership? Intellectual influence through innovative and pioneering thinking. Are you influencing events and progress through innovation, through pioneering thinking, through research, through patents? Are your ideas having impact on society, impact on the economy, impact on the quality of life of the African? That is what we mean by thought leadership, the impact of ideas. But you see, it's not easy. The problem we have is that those with ideas have no power, and those with power have no ideas. With your ideas and your lab work, you have no political power. And those with political power have zero.
I think I'll stop here. The point I am emphasizing from this video is about the fact that thought leadership is about the impact of ideas. Not just the ideas, not just the research findings, not just the way you teach, not just the way we engage the community, but the impact of our work, the impact of our teaching, the impact of our research. And that is why I have a little problem with the way academia defines research impact. Sometimes the focus is only on citations. So if my work has attracted 10,000 citations, the system will clap for me. And the system doesn't reflect on the actual community impact of my research. And if that is 0, the system will still clap for me. Yet, that lady and that gentleman at Aposika doesn't care about my 10,000 citations. They are interested in how my work is changing their lives. So, the gentleman says, not just the ideas, but the impact of the ideas. That is the point I wanted to make from this video. So I'm going back to my slides. Some reflection questions for our reflection. What are some of the characteristics of a thought leader? At least we heard about one. They are interested in the impact of the ideas. But there are more. What is your understanding of thought leadership? At least we've heard about one. The impact of what we do. That is what thought leaders do. Impact, impact, impact. We are documenting the impact. What do Ghanaians require of thought leaders in higher education? There's an expectation out there. Sometimes people are very happy with the way we run our show in the university. Sometimes people are upset about the way we run our show in the university. What are the expectations? Because they expect us to demonstrate thought leadership. How does the University of Cape Coast, in our case, or the university community in general, prepare all of us to demonstrate the practices of thought leadership? So you apply, I joined UCC as a research fellow in 2015, January. I was assigned 2 mentors, and I love them. Now, 5 years later, so in October 2020, 5 years after my appointment, I became the Director General of IEPA. Now, the question I ask myself is, between 2015 and 2020, when I became the Director General, what were the intentional leadership preparation that I received from the university and other places that prepared me for that leadership position? How did IEPA prepare me as a future or potential leader? How did my college, my school, CEDO, College of Education Studies, what preparations happened? Sometimes it just happens and you become. And if it just happens and you become, and you don't find ways to prepare yourself well, you can't demonstrate the practices and features of thought leadership. You can't. It's just not there. The point I'm making is that we must be intentional in preparing faculty into leadership positions. You will become HOD. You become a dean. You become a provost. You may become a pro-vice chancellor and vice chancellor. But you must prepare, because leadership is learned. You don't just become a leader because you want to be a leader. You must learn how to be a leader. Then my next question: what university experiences were most profound or least profound in your thought leadership development, if you are? And I'm not going to ask for answers, just think about them. Tvucc is a student development theorist. That is how he defines himself. And one of his research came out with what he refers to as 7 vectors of student development, 7 vectors of professional development, 7 vectors of thought leadership. And the first one is the intellectual ability that we all have. We are experts in different fields. So developing competence. He says that as a leader, you must have an area of expertise. And we are all doing very well in this area. But the next one, these are all soft skills. The next one, managing emotions. How do you manage your emotions? A lecturer in your department is consistently missing classes. A lecturer in your department is consistently not attending meetings. Student evaluation comes out and is bad. How do you react? Do you call him or her and tell him or her you are a stupid person? Or you engage one-on-one, patiently draw from your soft skills and have a conversation? At home, on the road, when the pragya and the others drive carelessly, how do we react? Yesterday I was returning from Kumasi, and the driver in front of me stopped to actually insult a driver who drove carelessly. But he was gone anyway. So managing emotions is important as an academic, as an administrator, as a leader, as a future leader, as a thought leader. The next one that Tvucc talks about is moving from autonomy towards interdependence. Sometimes we think we are autonomous. I am who I am. I can do whatever I want to do. But no. We know the word Ubuntu is very common in East Africa. I am because you are. We depend on each other. So even though sometimes we think that, oh, I am the number one in this area and I can do whatever I want, what I say is final, it's not. You need your colleagues around you, and that is why we must work together. In academia, sometimes we are in our own silos, and sometimes your colleague next door has no idea of your research agenda, has no idea of what you're doing. We need to get out of our silos. We need to collaborate. We need to work together. At the end of the day, we are serving the same students. It's not competition. Developing mature interpersonal relationships. I was telling the story to Mr. Nyeku. Yes, so a former colleague of mine in an MPhil class many years ago, and this didn't happen here. So this gentleman was teaching a class, MPhil class with a lot of men and women. And a question was asked. A lady raised up her hand, elderly woman, and this former colleague of mine said, put your hands down and let a more intelligent person answer this question. The lady came to my office crying, actually crying, and said, I'm done. I don't even need this degree. My kids are forcing me to do it, so I'm done. She went home. But I spoke with her continuously for 2 weeks, every day. You think you are still done? And that was the only thing I was asking her. Are you sure you are still done? Then finally she said, it appears I want to come back. She came back, completed the MPhil, continued with the PhD, and completed the PhD. So sometimes the way we say things and the way we do things. Establishing identity. National service persons come, they spend 1 year with us. When they are leaving, for many of them, for some of them, when we ask them, who do you think you are now? They are still not sure. And it's not the who are you with that pitch. Who are you? We must know who we are. Because knowing that helps in planning for the future. If you don't know who you are now, it's difficult to tell me who you want to become tomorrow. It's related to developing purpose. What do you want to do? Where do you want to be in the next 5 years, in the next 2 years, in the next 10 years? That vision must be clear. You close your eyes and you see it so nicely. Then you work towards it. Cants. Where do you want to be in the next 5 years? And this is not a question for only the provost. It's a question for all of us, because your individual progress and impact will come together and become the college impact. So if you are not making impact, then we are not making progress. Developing integrity. You can't demonstrate integrity for reading books on integrity. You must live integrity and practice integrity. So for Athachekrin, these 7 vectors are important for us to develop. And again, you can't develop them because you are alive. You must have a plan of how to develop them. Attending conferences, engaging other people one-on-one, identifying mentors and coaches, reading, everything. But then you must remind yourself all the time that I must be intentional, because this won't happen by itself. Am I going faster than this one? Okay, good. So, characteristics of and practices of thought leaders. So, who are they in terms of characteristics, and what do they do? Cousins and Posner tells us that thought leaders are honest. They are also empathetic. They feel how others feel. So if a student comes to your office weeping, you empathize. What is going on? How may I help? If a colleague is not in the office for 2 days, you want to find out what is happening. They are supportive. If they realize that one person is struggling, they want to pull everybody along. They are not happy when they are the only individual succeeding. They believe in Ubuntu. They have mentors and they also have mentees. So as they are being mentored, they also hold other people's hands and mentor them. And I'll share this. I have many mentees. Of course, I have mentors as well. But I have many mentees, sometimes too many, in my opinion. And as academic, as I mentor them, one of the things I try to get them to do is to consider postgraduate programs. So I have quite a number of my former MPhil students in PhD programs, especially in my best 5 schools in the US. And the best 5 is my own criteria. Many of them are at Ohio University, where I had my PhD. Many of them are at University of Maryland, College Park. I work closely with them as well. Many of them are at the University of Buffalo. Some are Indiana State University, and some are at Bowling Green State University. I prepare them to get there with the hope that when they finish the PhD, they'll come back. And some are coming back. So the point I'm making is that fortunately the university will give you a mentor when you are employed. But look for mentees and support them. That is what thought leaders do. They are inspiring. You look at them and you want to become. I want to become like this lady or this gentleman. Because the way they speak with you just inspires you. Sometimes it's not just, it's very simple things. The way they smile, the way they will shake your hands, the way they will tell you to take it easy, everything will be all right. You just want to be like them. They are inspiring. They are also innovative. They don't believe in Sanya, oh, for the past 20 years, it has always been like this. Why do you want to shake it? Shake it. They are innovative. They are courageous. Challenging the status quo needs courage. Sometimes all the voices around you will say, this is not possible, Master. We've done it like this for the past 50 years. This is not possible. But thought leaders will tell you it is possible. And indeed, it is possible. We are out of the political season, so I can say this one. It can be done. And then they challenge the process. I've talked about challenging the status quo sometimes. Ask the tough questions. Why are we doing this way all this while? The what is questions. What is educational leadership? What is biology? What is chemistry? What is natural science? What is agric? It's important we know, but we want to know more than the what is. If I ask my students, either at the MPhil program or in the PhD, what is educational leadership, they write it to me, and so what? But if I give them a scenario, there was this headmaster or headmistress who did A, B, and C, and this happened and that happened. What are your reflections on this? Then they are thinking. Then they can't copy somebody's work, because one person's experience is different from the other person's experience. So thought leaders are innovative, and you cannot be innovative if you are not asking the tough questions. They are also forward-looking. They want to move fast and move forward. They are not satisfied with what I have done today. I want to do better tomorrow. They plan. And they plan with people. They don't plan in their silo. They plan with colleagues. How can we fix this? Let's put our resources together. Let's think together and let's do it. Because we must move forward. And they are also competent. But their practices, they also enable others to act. Enabling others to act is about delegation. If they are not available, others must do the work. So IEPA has been a UNESCO center for 5 years. This week, a UNESCO evaluation team is in Ghana to evaluate us. So they are in Accra speaking with people at the ministry. My deputy is with them. So this morning, somebody called and said, oh, I'm on campus, and somebody from the ministry. And my deputy, oh, Mike, you should be here yourself. Why your deputy? And I said, my deputy is probably more competent than I am when it comes to hosting evaluators from UNESCO. And that is why she is there. We must learn to delegate and have confidence in our team members that if we are not there, they can deliver. That is leadership. If you are not available tomorrow, somebody should be able to do it. And it should be seamless transition because you have prepared for it. So thought leaders enable others to work. And you cannot enable others to work if you haven't prepared them. They will disgrace you. So you prepare them so at any point in time when somebody must do it and step in, people are on standby all the time. In some places, when the leader is not there, nothing functions. Oh, so what do we do? Just bow, unless he or she returns. That is not thought leadership. They also encourage the heart, and this is about motivation. They will tell you nice words. Prof, I learned yesterday you did A, B, and C. Good job. Thank you so much. Sometimes it is just little note under his or her door. Slip it there. Thanks, John. I learned yesterday you were super. People are motivated not by money, by the way you treat them. Thought leaders are also very positive. Even when everybody says it can't be done, they will tell you it can be done. And they are strength-based. They try to forget about weaknesses. And for many of them, they don't even use the word weakness. They will rather use the term areas of improvement. That sounds a little reassuring, right? If I call you to my office, you have too many weaknesses. You are this, you leave crying. But if I say you are doing well, but you need to look at A, B, and C. If you're able to fix A, B, and C, you'll be a star. They will run to go and look for A, B, and C to look like stars, isn't it? And they smile. Thought leaders are nice people. If you call me to your office and, bonyo face, that's what the young guys say it. With that bonyo face, whatever you say will not sink. And I'm a boy. They are very positive, they are strength-based, and studies have shown that teams that focus on strengths are usually about 12.5% more productive. If you look at your strengths, oh, we are good at this, let's do it. We are good at this, let's do it. You are more productive. Now we are having this conversation within a context, and that context is important. As a college in a university, SDG 4 is our baby, isn't it? And the others. But SDG 4 ensure inclusive and equitable quality education, lifelong and all that. Because of this, we must have this conversation. Because we have students that we are working with. And all we do, the teaching, the research, and the community engagement are promoting SDG 4 at the global level. Agenda 2030, also at the global level. The Sustainable Development Goals, we have pledged ourselves that by 2030, we will achieve them. 5 years more? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, it is clear that if we move at this pace globally, we won't achieve them. But that is one of the reasons why we must have this conversation and sustain this conversation. And the others, UNESCO's Features of Education, Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. We have a few more years to 2063. But are we working? Are we moving? Last year, AU declared 2024 as the year of education. I didn't see much being done by AU in that area. National Education Sector Plan, we have that for Ghana. Our ESP is started in 2018, it ends in 2030. Again, at this pace, we are not going to achieve the provisions of our National Education Sector Plan. The University of Cape Coast has a strategic plan. The college's strategic plan is drawn from that of UCC because your plan must dovetail into the UCC strategic plan. Are we getting close to achieving these things? For these reasons, we can't sleep. We must work and develop many more thought leaders because they will drive this agenda and drive it to a successful conclusion. Thought leadership, we've said this again, we've said this before, has to do with empathetic leadership and then also values-driven education. We have a lot of fantastic values in African indigenous knowledge. Sometimes you forget about them. So let me draw a few conversations from our indigenous knowledge. This symbol is one of our Dinkra symbols. Sisan Subai. Change or transform your character. That is about thought leadership. The realization that I must change is a good characteristic of a thought leader. And when we need to change, we know it. We feel it. The other two, I have one more. Neonim Siao, one of my favorites. Let me read the literal translation. He who does not know can know from learning. Very, very direct. Neonim Siao. But it's a symbol of knowledge and lifelong education. We must continue to learn. We must continue to aspire to be thought leaders. We must continue to lead change. Nia opese obedi hene. He who wants to be a king or a queen. Symbol of service and leadership. Thought leadership is about service. It's not about ourselves. We are not HODs or directors because we are more handsome or more beautiful than the others. It's a call to serve. It is just an opportunity for us to serve. The last one, share on shit, literally means that which does not bend. Resilience, symbol of endurance, tough. Recently, IEPA, in collaboration with a Category 2 center in China, Aichi, developed a smart classroom for UCC. It was launched about a month and a half ago. Now, the share on share thing, the leadership of Iche donated all the equipment, the computers and all the other stuff. We provided a space. Now, they shipped the equipment. We knew a month and a half, maybe they will arrive, we'll clear them. And then they dispatched their technicians to come and fix them. Their technicians got here, and we were still struggling clearing the items from the port. We had secured clearance from the Ministry of Education. We had secured clearance from Ministry of Finance for tax waiver. Everything was presented, the customs people, today, tomorrow. The technicians are here. The launching is happening, so they got here on Monday. The launching was going to happen on Thursday. The other team were arriving on Tuesday evening to prepare for the launch. Yet, as at Monday, our things were still at the port. So Tuesday morning, I dispatched my two deputies and my head of finance, head of procurement, to go and stay at the harbor till the things are ready. I said, don't come back till the items are released. So we also were engaging custom officers on phone. We got the items on Tuesday night. Launching is happening on Thursday, but we told ourselves, share and shit. So Tuesday night, the whole of Wednesday, installation was completed. Thursday morning, we launched the thing. And the Chinese were shocked. They said, we thought we were the only people who can be on their feet and make things happen. But we are surprised. We had told ourselves this thing won't happen. Friday morning, we'll go back and do the launching online. But it happened. Sometimes you just tell yourself, I won't give up unless I'm dead. But as long as I'm alive, this must happen. That is thought leadership. Don't give up. The system can be frustrating sometimes. Sometimes it can be tough. Sometimes you have done all that you should do, but you are not getting the results. Do not give up. That is thought leadership. And a few other Adinkra symbols, I have 15 more minutes, I'll be winding up soon. Few other Adinkra symbols that support this conversation. Whoever climbs a good tree deserves a push. Thought leaders are supportive. If your colleagues are doing well, even if they are crawling, support them to run. The rock never loses its value as a result of wet weather. The customs example I gave, we didn't give up. It was almost unsurmountable, but we said it will happen. One stick of broom, that one is a common one. Unity is strength. Then the last one. They don't kill all the partridges before they plant millet. This is a Gonja proverb. They don't kill all the partridges. Partridges are birds that can mess you up and destroy your millet. But if you are so much afraid of the partridge, you will never plant your millet. You will plant anyway. You cannot remove all the difficulties in the world before you do your work. The frustrations are there. The promotion process can be challenging and frustrating, but I'll submit the application anyway. So there are gaps as we engage in this conversation, but within the gaps are also opportunities. Our students have changed. When I was in first year many years ago in Tvucc Hall, our behavior and our practices were different from what we are seeing now. But that is what we have. That is our raw material. We must change them and get them to the point where they are responsible and ready to lead the nation and the universities and all that. They are all that. We know. Sometimes when they are driving, I've seen a guy driving one-handed, right now was on the steering wheel. And then there was a phone. So this is like this. The hand was like, at a point I saw him also sipping some drink. And I said, you can easily die, my good friend. But that is that's our raw material. Should we give up and tell them, get out of here? We still have to work with them and make sure they become responsible adults. Other than that, in the future when we are old, they will sell Ghana and all the citizens. So as thought leaders, we have a responsibility to refine them and get them to where we want them to be. Explore collaborative learning opportunities. I've talked about this before. Let's be collaborative in our departments and in our schools and colleges. Let's work together. We have one college and one university and one Ghana. Then the learning pathways for us and also for our students. Is it flexible? You come to first year, I'm worried about this one, but I'm not in the position to change it. You come to first year, after the first semester, you realize that you are in a wrong program. I didn't know about this one. Because at the senior high school, we don't guide them well as to what programs to select. You are in a wrong program. First semester, you know you are lost. You want to change to a different program. They will tell you wait till end of the year and buy another form. I went through first year architecture student at KNUST. My A-level subjects, geography, economics, French. But my dad says you'll be an architect and come and take over my construction company. So architect, I went. I wanted to do planning. So I bought a form for planning as well. And I had admission to both, but architecture. All the, thought courses, I made first semester A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. Studio, I had D. D because I don't like drawing. I had never handled the T-square and that thing before. So when we go to the studio carries 10 credit hours because that is the profession. You get there and you are sweating. Best student in my A-level class, but I was struggling. I told my father at the end of first semester, Master, this Akito thing won't happen. But I went to the HOD, I went to the dean. In fact, I went as far as to the pro-vice chancellor at KNUS at the time. I was a little tiny boy, but I was tough. And I said, I have to change to planning. And I don't know why you are asking me to wait till next year. It should be possible. Because we are in the same faculty. First semester, we have taken common courses. Why can't I switch? And the Pro-Vice Chancellor realized this guy is angry and serious. And he said, young man, you are my son, but it is just not possible. You have to wait. So I waited, decided not to buy another form to KNUST. I bought a form to UCC, and the following year I came to UCC. So my mates were a year ahead of me. And that was something I struggled with throughout my undergraduate year. I was a school prefect. But the fact that my mates, I was a young little boy, my mates were a year ahead of me was challenging for me. But I told myself I'll beat them. In a positive, not negative, but I said I'll beat them. But the point I'm making is that our pathways are not flexible. And we must change it. After first semester, if you are struggling biochemistry or biological sciences, this or that, what will happen if we allow them to switch? What will happen? If somebody wants to transfer from UCC to KNUST, why can't that happen? Sociology, I want to move from UCC sociology to KNUST sociology. Why can't that happen? Because the courses don't align, make them aligned. So our students are struggling. They are telling us your pathways are not flexible. They don't have a choice. They would have left and gone to other places. And I'm not talking only about UCC. I'm talking about all the universities. What does it take for registrars to meet and say, from tomorrow, transfers will be possible? It doesn't cost any money. So the issue of we don't have money doesn't come in. So the pathways are not flexible. And they are frustrating. Thought leadership tells us to change it. Academic affairs, student affairs collaboration. A student is struggling I've seen former home masters here. A student is struggling in the classroom. And then the student also lives in a hall. So do we compare notes? I have this student in the class who is always singing during classes hours. What is his behavior in the hall? We don't compare notes, but we also serving the same students. So academic affairs and student affairs, we must work together. In the same way, we must work together with administrators. Sometimes there's a little unspoken friction between us, but where is that coming from? We are serving one people. We work in one university. We are we, they are them. Thought leadership promotes collaboration, and we must work together. We also have underrepresented student populations here, and Kofi talked about some of them. We have some students who are from foster homes, and I know some of them because I have some relationship with SOS. So sometimes I get their lists. Students from SOS who are come to UCC. And I, at my own level, I speak with some of them. Many of them are my friends. They are struggling, and you wouldn't know that they are struggling. Students are different. And they're my favorite. There are gifted students in this university and all universities over the world. Gifted. They can knock down the first degree in 2.5 years. Yes, they can. And they can make first classes within 2.5 years or 3 years. Why should we box all of them to do it in 4 years? Because some can do it before 4 years. We are treating all of them the same, but they are not. There are some who are in a hurry. There are some senior high school students who can take university courses. So by the time they get here, they have some university courses that they will continue. So instead of 4 years, they will spend 3 years and 2.5 years here. We can do it. It doesn't take money. It is just all over deciding that we must give these opportunities. There are some of the high school students, congratulations to the mobile boys. Are they here? Yes, congratulations. There are some of your boys who can take university courses and make A's. Let's get them to do it, to their credit. There are students who are struggling financially. We have the financial aid office, but they don't have money to support students who are struggling. No, there's no money there. You go to speak with them and there's no money. There are some students who feel marginalized, sometimes because of even their names and where they are coming from. They feel they are not part of the system. And sometimes we make it worse for them. Where are you from? Look at him. They feel marginalized. And when students feel marginalized, they can't perform. Implications. I'm sure I have about 5 more minutes, right? 5 more minutes. So what are the implications? Teaching, research, community engagement. What does it mean for our teaching? Thought leadership. I've talked about some of them. Our research. I want to see research impact on the ground beyond the citations. And it is only a wish because I don't have the power to change it. I want to see the thing on the ground, real impact. We generate evidence, we publish, we are cited, but I want to see the change on the ground. In teaching, the students are our junior colleagues. In educational leadership, for instance, we are preparing them into school leadership. They become headmasters and head teachers, and they are our colleagues. What should be the relationship? Promote collaboration between academic, I've talked about that, mentorship, I've talked about that, leadership development, yes, let's be intentional, community service. Academic advising. Some students don't know even why they are choosing what they are choosing. Can we extend our services to their secondary schools? And I know we do that. But here, academic advising, I know IEP is working with T&D to enhance the capacity of academic advisors in the university. Academic advising is a skill. You don't become academic advisor because you're a lecturer. You need to acquire that skill and that competence to be able to advise well as an academic advisor. All these things, I think they are not new. Responsible use of technology and all that, customer service and supervision. So I'll talk about evaluation. Last year, I offered myself for IEP staff to evaluate me. And they were surprised. I said, no. The head of research designed a tool for them to evaluate me. And one thing came up. They said, I've given my accountant too much space. So at a meeting, I wanted to understand what they mean. And what they meant was that you allow her to make some decisions. But I told them, I am not an accountant. And that is the reason why they have given me an accountant. So why wouldn't I allow her to run the show? When it comes, I will not take any financial decision without her input. Never. And my people were not happy. Because sometimes what should come to them, she may say, oh, give them 50% instead of 100%. But the point is that that is an area. And so allow yourself to be evaluated. I don't know who evaluates the vice chancellor. But the vice chancellor, we must evaluate the vice chancellor. I don't know who evaluates the pro-vice chancellor and the registrar and the provost. Today I'm shaking the system a little bit. Let's allow ourselves for evaluation to happen. Because traditionally, we even say that you trust names and a chia. We need that feedback. No matter how tough it comes, embrace it. And I think that is important for thought leadership. Allow your team members to tell you how you are doing. So that if you are not doing well, you change. And if you are doing well, we'll clap for you. So finally, diversity is real. People are different. I'm a Catholic, but I also believe that diversity is real. So when people are not like you, give them space to thrive. They don't always have to be like you before you support them. We must create platforms for equal opportunities. So data-driven policies, sometimes you are there and then there's a policy being developed and being formulated. What data is driving that policy? Oh, you perceive from tomorrow you want to do this. Then it becomes policy. So this is a call for institutional collaboration. Thought leaders embrace collaboration. Competition will not take us anywhere. Competition will not take us anywhere. We must collaborate at the individual level, at the departmental level, at the school level, and at the college level, and even at the institutional level. Vice chancellors and VG Ghana and all that. Collaboration is the way to go. Finally, a quote from Richard Riley. Our children may be 20% of our population. Our students may be 20% of our population, but 100% of our future. Again, if we don't support them to grow and develop and become responsible citizens, in future, they will sell Ghana and sell all of us and run away. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. You go with your laptop. Great. Please, let's do one more for Prof. as he takes his seat. All right, great. So we will quickly move to the next line of item, where we will interact with the resource persons. I believe from their presentation, you've noted one or two things which you might need clarification or answers to. So we'll take 5 questions at a time. They will answer and they will do the next. We have 45 minutes for this section. All right. I'm being prompted to manage the time. The second microphone. Emmanuel. Okay. Right, so I've seen the first hand. Right.
Thank you very much. My question goes to Teacher Kofi. Teacher Kofi, I hope you are listening. Yes, we understand, or I should speak for myself. I understand whatever you said. You acknowledge that there were challenges, especially time. In this university, sometimes teaching weeks, 10 teaching weeks, and you are stressed. I want to put to you, covering the syllabus or maybe the course content, and then engaging in adaptive pedagogy so that your students are able to, grasp what you are teaching. Maybe by the end of the semester, you are about just 50% complete, but your students are well equipped with the content. So which do you recommend? I'm putting it to you. Thank you very much.
The way he's putting it to me, he's putting me to understand. Do I need a legal counsel? Okay, so for me personally, I think we should be able to train our students to become lifelong learners. So I'll go deeper and I'll prefer they understand the little that I'll teach than going shallow and completing, whilst they have, half-baked knowledge. You rush, you are finished, but they don't have anything. You finish 50% and they have grasp, the rest they can follow up and learn on their own. I don't know if all of us are able to finish all our course all the time. No, mostly we are not able to. And therefore, if we are able to train them such that the little that we cover, they have maximum knowledge, they can build on it and read the rest. Yeah. So I'll rather target letting them have the understanding of most of the things I'll teach rather than rushing through finishing and then they not understanding it. Yeah. I don't know, but my senior colleagues can come in.
No,
Yes, Prof.
I'm not coming, but I just want to.
Okay.
We are practicing the semester system. So if I take a course now, next semester, there will be a continuation.
Yeah.
And you are now telling me if I don't finish, no problem, for them to understand. So I don't finish. The next semester, what will happen?
Okay.
And then I've not finished.
That's fine.
This is undergraduate. We are talking about undergraduate now. They will complete and maybe do their master's, PhD somewhere else. We have done all these things because they will look at the transcript and it is there. You have done this. Meanwhile, you didn't complete. So
Okay.
what are you saying?
All right. I'll answer your question for a question, which shouldn't be, but let me try this. If you finish from your side, you said I have finished, and they didn't understand it, what happens? Yeah.
Yeah, it happened to all of us. It happened to all of us. And I can tell you, the ones that did not complete, when we went outside, we suffered. But those that completed and we didn't understand here, we were able to learn on our own.
It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing. That's not what you said.
No, what I mean is, I know the curriculum is spiral, so we build on. If I have the foundation, and it's a strong foundation, building on is easier than having a shallow foundation and assuming that you have finished the course, but they don't have the graphs of the content. Prof, do you get my point? So I prefer, wherever you are doing, let them have maximum understanding, and then they can build on. I don't know. I don't think there will be a one best way approach. But from my experience, when students have maximum understanding, building on is easier than when they are unlearning what they have wrongly learned, or when they are building on a weak foundation. So where they know that as for this part, I am clear, the rest, they are able to follow through and build on it, than when you say that you have finished, but they themselves don't understand. Prof, the activity we are doing is teaching and learning. Most often than not, we take the learning bit away and we just teach. We are not just giving them information, we want them to understand. So when we say that we have finished the course outline, and the students don't see that you have finished, you have theoretically taught them, but they don't have the understanding. Who has finished? Is it you finishing teaching, or they have finished learning? So we should look at it as a process of the same coin. You teach, they learn. If you just focus on your side and you teach, and you said I've finished I've completed the course outline, and they don't have the understanding, to them it's cost 90. So we need to have a good balance. I wouldn't also say that, for maximum understanding, the whole of the semester, 12 units, you've completed only 3, and said I wanted them to understand. That one too will not be plausible and appropriate. Yeah. So we need to have a good balance, such that students will get what we want, and we also feel that we have taught to satisfy our own conscience and our responsibilities.
Thank you very much, Teacher Kofi.
Yes.
Yeah, I think what we are saying here is this. I realize that this semester we are doing 12 teaching weeks, and I did my course content for one course.
Yeah.
And each semester I'll be teaching, I think I have about 10 to 9 topics that I have to cover over the semester. So if I'm using adaptive pedagogy to teach, it means that I have to probably, from what you are saying, teach about 4. I'll be able to cover about 4 of the topics in the course of the semester.
No, I didn't say
No. From
adaptive
what you explained.
Adaptive pedagogy doesn't mean that you don't teach.
Listen to me. From how you presented it. But now, if you bring your own teaching philosophy, for example, my teaching philosophy is mostly constructivism,
yes,
which is more student-centered.
Yes.
And it's also more adaptive and collaborative in nature.
Okay.
And when I do that, I'm always able to cover all the topics.
Awesome.
So what I'm driving at is it's not only the pedagogy, but a lot of things have to come into each, and one of them is your teaching philosophy. Thank you.
Yeah, but your teaching philosophy falls within your pedagogy. So it's from
So it depends on which type of teaching philosophy.
I don't get your question actually. So your teaching philosophy will lead to the pedagogical strategies you use. Yes. So adaptive pedagogy falls within the constructivist paradigm, where the focus is on the learner. So if you remember, I said that the fulcrum of adaptive pedagogy is formative assessment. What you get from the learners will determine the approach to continue. If you assess them and they are okay with the strategy you are doing, you continue. If they have a difficulty, that is why you may want to find another strategy to help you. Yeah, so I'm a bit challenged when you say that the constructivism and the pedagogy.
The way you presented it, the way you answered the question.
Prof's own. Oh, okay, that one was different from.
That is what is.
Okay. Yes, look.
All right, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. I have something on the cultural problem, right? So incidentally, I have an essay in the Daily Graphic of today, which talks about how cultural forces may prevent critical thinking in Ghanaian classrooms.
Yeah.
And in sometimes that we don't seem to have a solution to, from my perspective, because you grow up with this belief, right? In my language, they will tell you that a child may be permitted to eat big portions, but not to dabble in complex conversations, right? That is one of the adages we grew up hearing. And a comparable one in Akan will be the one where they will tell you that Openyi Juaria Atrese in Swansa or something. That sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
There are contextual applications of all of this, right? In the context of conflict resolution, right? That's why we have the Supreme Court. Is a final arbiter in cases like that because all litigation must come to an end. However, we may tend to apply these things broadly. So a student comes to the classroom believing that whatever the teacher says is final.
Yeah.
But that is not always the case.
Yes.
So what are some of the ways we can go about recalibrating our culture? I'm not saying our culture is bad.
Yeah.
There are very good aspects, but there is a strong baggage. And this problem is also reminiscent of what is noted in some other societies.
Definitely.
People say that, for example, the Chinese people can be very innovative, right? But not as well as their counterparts in Western cultures. Because in socialist societies like China, you need to filter your opinion through the lens of the larger society to see whether those views are acceptable or not before we put them across.
Yeah.
Right? So how are some of the ways we can go about dealing with this cultural problem? For me, it's the biggest problem, our culture.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I want to have your thoughts on that, if you can.
I agree with that. Yes. So it boils down to psychological safety in the classroom. Let me give you a personal example. I have a teacher at Augustine's. He's a science teacher, a biology teacher. He's an MPhil student in my class. The guy is outspoken. Some of you may know information history. And during class interaction, his own colleagues will be pinching him. Stop. Stop. Why? I said, let him talk. Sometimes his arguments may be way off. But I said, allow him. Allow you to express him. What is your problem? Is the class yours? This is my class. And I'm not bothered. And I allowed him to speak his mind. To the extent that some of his own colleagues felt sometimes he was going overboard. But I said, no. We are learning. I learn from my students learn from me. So in this class, it is a flexible, open-minded, psychological, safe class. I tell students, if you like, this is opportunity to insult me. When you meet me outside and you insult me, that one I'll get angry. But when you come to my class and you insult me, you are my customer. The customer is always right. And they will laugh. So I create that conducive environment. Open-mindedness, flexible learning, psychological, safe environment where learners are open to speak up their mind. But they have to see it from you. Sometimes our own colleagues don't give them that chance. So they transfer whatever they are having in other classes to your class. So if you are not careful, you become the odd one out. And you need to stand your ground. Other than that, they will transpose those ideas there. So let them have that assurance, if I can put it that way, that your class is a psychological safe environment. Feel free, express yourself, and be open. Don't tell them they should feel free, and then when they give you some response, you look at them. No, let them really feel that safety around you, and that will help. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much.
I have a question, very important question, to the two speakers.
Okay.
You have given us very good presentations, but I wonder, the two speakers, you consider the conditions under which we work in our part of the world. Did you consider them? Yes. Power outages is one. Internet connectivity, poor internet connectivity. Can you work in this environment, delivering this adaptive pedagogy that you are giving nice presentation? Class size. The second presentation, I know he has worked in Vaco Hall before, so very well. There are issues, some of them, he even pointed them out. A student has a problem, especially financial difficulty. They bring it to you. You have done all your best to solve that, going to counseling center, not knowing the issue is actually financial. You go to student support, there's no fund. Once a while, you dole money from your pocket, but how much can you give? So these things, they look nice, but practicing it in our part of the world, I'm telling you, there are challenges. Challenges. So these are the things I'm expecting that sometimes when you are delivering such presentation, bring those real challenges in Ghana and other parts of Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. Prof, we brought the challenges. I brought the challenges. We see them there. But some of them, we can navigate it with low tech too. For instance, most of us that do PowerPoint, we give our slides to the students. So if your questions are already in the slides and the power goes out, they have the hard copy or they have it on their phone and we can navigate around that. But there are real challenges that are there. Yeah, Prof.
And Prof, from thought leadership contests, thought leaders are problem solvers. They solve problems, they make impact. So whether you are a lecturer or a senior lecturer, you are a associate professor, vice chancellor, and you believe in thought leadership, the expectation is that let us solve the problem. So thought leadership wouldn't say that, oh, I'm not the HOD. Oh, I'm not the director of finance. You are a thought leader. And as a thought leader, find a solution. We acknowledge the challenges, many. There are some that sometimes demotivate us. And sometimes you ask yourself, for how long is this going to continue? But as thought leaders, we must sit, and that is why we must work together. Brainstorm, bring ideas, and let's go for the solution. The solution is somewhere. We just have to come together and find the solution and fix it. Because as thought leaders, we can't say we are waiting for somebody to come and fix the problems. We must find a way. I know it is difficult, but I also know that some of us, some of you, many of you are solving the problems at your own level. And I know, former hall master of alcohol, 2 of them are here. Professor Frifa is also here. I know you solve the problems. I know you do. There was an instance where 3 ladies in a room, one was wetting the bed. One was wetting the bed, so one was empathetic towards the lady who was wetting the bed. The third one was upset, angry. But the two, the lady who wets the bed and the friend, find a solution. They approached their hall tutor. The hall tutor had a conversation, and the two were moved to a room. It appeared there was no solution. The two were moved to a room. It got better because the other person would wake up in the night and wake the lady up. Please go to the restroom. And continuously it stopped. I heard it. I thought they should go to the hospital or something like that. But they fixed it in the hall because they were able to assign them to one room. And so the solutions are there. Difficult to find sometimes. Sometimes we don't even have the means. But thought leaders would always find a way. And that is the consolation. Thank you.
Right. Okay, Professor, I think I have a question for you. So before you say it.
Please, this will be the last question. We will have some of these sessions as the program continues. Tagdev is here for 10 years, and this is the beginning. So until we see that transformation for the program, we'll not stop re-echoing this. So please, last question for Prof.
Okay, Prof.
Make it friendly.
Yes, thought leadership. I'm thinking about a situation where you're a coordinator of a course, a large class, like let's say first year organic chemistry, something. You're dealing with 2,000 students or more. Okay, and these people are into different groups. They have a coordinator coordinating the course and others. Because of the large numbers, sometimes you have to, it's not sometimes, always, if there's a quiz it has to be done on weekends or an odd time when you think you can have access to venues. And some of the students come to you, let's say you put a quiz on Saturday, and then they say that they are SDA. They go to SDA. I mean, you're a Catholic. So the SDA people don't want to come and write a quiz on Saturday. And you are a thought leader. You want to be able to embrace diversity, and you want to be able to also solve problems. How do you navigate cases like that? Because if the Muslims also decide that we wouldn't write on Friday, and Christians are also saying not on Sunday, other denominations also say never on Sunday, how do you handle situations like that?
Thank you very much, my good friend, Professor. So, thought leaders are not magicians. And thought leaders are aware of, in our case, university policies and procedures. There are instances where you have to draw from the policy. And there are instances where if you can't find a policy, you must discuss with your HOD or dean or provost. So collectively, you take a decision. In that case, you are safe. As a thought leader, and in this particular example, you should not attempt to solve the problem yourself. You get into trouble. Because the Friday worshippers will come, the Monday worshippers will come, the Tuesday worshippers will come. So look for a policy if there is any. If there is none, speak with your HOD. If the HOD can't help you, he or she will consult the dean. If the dean can't help, the provost will come in, and maybe the registrar and the pro-vice chancellor may also come in. At the end of the day, you will have a university position to work with. I think it's always safe that way. Did I pass? Thank you very much.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the speakers. I think they deserve a round of applause. I like the interest this discussion has generated. In view of that, we have agreed that next academic year, or next semester, we will host similar themes to engage. That will be more engaging than today. A number of our colleagues couldn't make it because of the clash programs. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you immensely. I've seen the Dean for Sustainable Engineering. Thank you, Prof. Obin, for your time. The HODs, the heads of units, professors, colleagues, students, the media, we are so grateful. We are zooming in the last few moments of this program where the awardees for 2025-2026 academic year on Tagdev will be receiving their laptops. So I will invite the project coordinator to come and take over.
Yeah, good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, cohort 1 students.